Hello, I'm Adam Zoltie and we're back again for another edition of Row Z, the online sports show where we look at the hottest sporting topics out there. Now this week we've got a bit of an Australian feel. I'm going to be looking at the 2015 ICC Cricket World Cup, which is being held in Australia and New Zealand. We'll look at a new rule that's been introduced, preview some of the potential players of the tournament and see if we can guess a winner. I'm going to give you my thoughts so that you're ready for the first ball. Last time we were just getting warmed up, but this week the gloves are off, the bell's been rung, and we're ready for round two. This week the final nominations have been put forward for those looking to take on Sepp Blatter for the FIFA presidency. Amongst those in contention are Prince Hussein, Michael van Praag, Jerome Champagne and Luis Figo. David Ginola was in, but now he's out. For England's rugby union side, their preparations for the Six Nations 2015 couldn't be getting any worse. Their injury list is getting longer and longer. But on the plus side, they'd have a pretty decent treatment room 15. Also this week, Shames cyclist Lance Armstrong has revealed that if he could go back in time, he would do it all again. Yes, if he could go back in time and cheat again, he would. Is that guy ever going to learn? Now, one story which you might not know about is the 2015 World Handball Championships. Now, they're taking place at the moment in Qatar, and the final is going to be on Sunday the 1st of February, the day after this show is recorded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my crystal ball and going to be very brave or very stupid and try and predict the outcome. I won't only be doing this for the Handball Championships, but I'm also going to pick two more sporting contests that are taking place on the 1st of Feb. So the Handball Championships, I think Spain are going to reign. They're going to keep their title for another 4 years. The next contest I'm going to choose is the Australian Open Tennis. On one hand, we've got Andy Murray, on the other, his old friend Novak Djokovic. Now, although Murray has hit a rich vein of form, I cannot rule out Djokovic because once he starts playing well, he is unstoppable. But I hope I'm wrong. And the last contest I'm going to predict is Super Bowl 49. Yep, we've got the Seattle Seahawks against the New England Patriots. Much of the pre-game talk has focused on Belichick's deflated balls and the possibility of quarterback Tom Brady winning a fourth Super Bowl ring. However, I'm actually going to pick the Seattle Seahawks to win it. I think they've got a mean defense, and in someone like Marshawn Lynch, he's an aggressive runner and he can be a real game changer if he tries. So for me, it's Seattle. I could wake up on Monday morning with a hat-trick of correct scores, or I could have egg on my face. So let's hope it's the former. Now, no matter what sport, there is nothing better than a World Cup. Fact. From the 14th of February to the 29th of March is the 2015 ICC Cricket World Cup. 4 years ago, India won it in front of their own crowd. And this time around, Australia will be hoping that they can do the same thing as they host the showpiece event with neighbours New Zealand. Now, speaking of Australia, the bookies make them overwhelming favourites, but you can't rule out the other Southern Hemisphere sides like New Zealand or South Africa or England as well. One thing that makes it better suited to those sides are the state of the pitches. They're harder, making the bowls faster with a higher bounce. Now, when predicting some of my players of the tournament, it's hard pressed to look any further than one of the poster boys, Steve Smith, who's the stand-in Australia captain for Michael Clarke. Now, Smith has stepped into the role with aplomb, and at the end of last year, he was actually awarded Australia's Cricketer of the Year. In the run-up to this tournament, he won Man of the Matches against India and against England in the ODI, where he hit a century. He's also one of the 4th highest batsmen in the world, so I reckon after the tournament he'll probably be a lot higher if he keeps up his form. Speaking of batsmen in the top rankings, you can't look any further than AB de Villiers. The guy is an absolute phenomenon with records coming out of his ears. Fastest 50 in an international match, fastest century in an international match, fastest cricketer to reach 7,000 runs in an international, the list goes on. So if de Villiers can hit form, I would say to the other countries, watch out. Now, of course, I cannot talk about an international competition without talking about England. In Owen Morgan, they have an inspirational leader and someone who can really drive the team on. So hopefully he can help them carry their form that they've been building up leading into the World Cup. He's also considered as one of the best finishers in the game, so that is definitely something that will play into England's favour. On the bowling side, of course, there's Jimmy Anderson, one of the best fast bowlers in the world. He's had a bit of a dip in form, but if he can pick it up again, there is no stopping Jimmy. One player who actually intrigues me a bit more is Stephen Finn. Now, since he's adjusted his bowling style, he's become a real threat, and his average bowling speed is about 90 miles an hour. The problem with Finn is that he hasn't taken more than 5 wickets in an innings since 2013. So if he can change that, I can definitely see England reaching the final and, dare I say, winning the whole thing. Now, one thing we do have to mention is the introduction of the Super Over. Basically, it's a new rule that's been put in place for this World Cup, which shows that teams will carry on playing after a tie for 6 bowls and 2 wickets. So hopefully it will make the whole competition a lot more exciting. With the best players and the best teams on show, I really hope that the 2015 Cricket World Cup is one of the best ever, and that for cricket fans around the world, it's not going to be a hard slog to follow. Unless, of course, you support Scotland. Set a date in your diary for the final match of the African Cup of Nations on the 8th of February. No matter who is in the showpiece event, you know it's going to be a hard-fought game surrounded by a party atmosphere. On the 15th of March sees the return of another exciting season of Formula 1. The first event is the Australian GP. So rev your engines and let's hope that Lewis can win back-to-back championships. And finally, seeing as I've spent most of the episode talking about Australia, it's very fitting that I make an Aussie athlete my one to watch for this week. Tennis star Nick Kyrgios has been on the up since he burst onto the scene in 2014. Did you know he's the first teenager to reach 2 Grand Slam quarterfinals since the great Roger Federer? He's got the ability, he's got the personality. All he has to do now is rein in his emotions and perhaps bulk up a bit, and I can really see this kid going far in the sport for years to come. Sadly, we've reached the end of this episode of Row Z, but hopefully you've brushed up on your cricket in time for the World Cup on the 14th of February. It may be Valentine's Day that day, but I really hope that England's performances throughout the tournament won't be heartbreaking. As usual, please feel free to subscribe, like, leave your comments and suggestions below, and you can follow me on Twitter @AdamZoltie. See you soon.